All right, everybody, welcome to Command Bootcamp day number 2. Today we're going to talk about mass email inside of Command. So this has been a good update for those of you that haven't been playing along with all of the updates, especially with email. Command email rolled out right around family reunion time, February, March, to some of us, and I've been in the lab and the demo and all that fun stuff, getting this stuff to work. So it is fully functional and operational now. I'm going to show you a couple of key setup pieces, and then I'm going to show you the 2 ways to send mass email. We won't go a full hour today, so I'll leave some time for questions at the end. If you are new or not sure how I got even where I am, agent.kw.com is how you get into all of our Keller Williams Command stuff. And you have one login that is the same for all of your Keller Cloud things. It's usually the first letter of your first name and then your last name. If you have a popular combination of names, sometimes you have a number. But if you're following along, get logged in. If not, and you're just taking notes, that's cool too. I will do a recording of this and get it up on my YouTube. So if you guys want to go back and follow, you can. Everybody's home screen looks a little bit different because we do have the customizability now. So if yours looks different than mine, no big deal. The key things that I want you to understand here for the setup on this, which is really important, is number 1, making sure your marketing profile is right, and number 2, making sure your KW email is set up correctly. So 2 pieces to that. Number 1, hopefully by now you've done a marketing profile. If you've been on any of my classes, I kind of start with this every time, so bear with me for 2 minutes if you already know this stuff, but it is very crucial. So when you click next to your name, the little drop down, and you click on settings to get to your marketing profile, I want you to go to connect settings and hit marketing profile. The reason that this is key is because this determines if your stuff that goes out is branded and customized or if it's not. So when you look in your marketing profile, if you have this little green light on, that means you are customized and you are branded. If you do not have that little green light on, everything that goes out is just going to be default KW stuff. It's not going to be branded to you. So make sure that green light is on. If it's grayed out or clear or not working or not allowing you to do it, what you need to do is run through this marketing profile Kelly guide. It's similar to a setup wizard for software. It's quick and easy. It'll ask you if you have a picture, if you have a logo, what your social is, not social security, social media. If you have a website, all that fun stuff, it's going to get that set up. And when you add all that stuff in and you plug everything in, it's going to allow you to actually customize and use things. So that's number 1. We want to make sure that's done correctly. Number 2 is if you don't have your KW email set up and your Command email account set up, we need to do that. So when we go back into settings, the main part of settings, you're going to see all the applications that tie into KW. Your Command email should be dead last or second to last. So when you scroll all the way down, you'll find Command email. Now, the key to this is that it is linked to your @kw.com email, which is done through Gmail. It's a Google account. When you first signed on, you got this. So some of you I know are brand new and some of you have been on here forever. If you have no idea how to find this or how to do this, you can do it through mykw.kw.com. In the technology section, there's a whole section that says KW email to set that up. And you want to make sure that you get that figured out, because if you don't, it makes pretty much everything else that you're going to do a little bit difficult, because everything with Command email is totally tied into that. When you want to actually get Command email set up, you're going to look and make sure yours says connected. And for most of you, it should. We set it up so that it automatically does that. However, there's always, a glitch here and there, some little issues. So if yours doesn't say connected, you're going to go in here and hit the word connect instead of manage. It'll be kind of teal, and it'll just ask you to sync up. Quick and easy, shouldn't be a problem. If yours is already connected like mine, I want you to just click on the manage button. And we want to make sure that it's set up correctly for you. So sender name is going to be however you want it going out. So if you have a team name or a brand name, put that there, or make sure your name is how you want it. I know a lot of us have, nicknames, or we have a certain way that our name is in the system, a full name, a maiden name, or something like that. So make sure that's set up however you want. And then your reply to email, you're going to choose which one you want set up correctly. You want it to be the one that says Keller Williams email. It should be some version of your name or your team name @kw.com. It's going to show all these. I will just tell you, for the purpose of making things work as good as possible, you really want it to be tied to your @KW one. If you don't like that one or you don't use it or whatever, you can just set it up and then forward it to whatever email you want to use. But I will just tell you, for simplicity of use and for things working correctly, if you want to use command email, which is free, I would suggest using this. You can see where it says that I have 5,000. So every agent that's on this call, you have 5,000 emails for free that will go out of here. If you have way bigger of a database than that, or you want to add to that, you can pay a small amount to grow that number. The first bump up is 10,000 emails per month, and it's $9.99. And I think the next one is 20,000, and it's $14 or $15.99. It goes on from there. So if you need to change that, you can click on Manage Subscription. It will take you into the marketplace where you can see the pricing breakdown. And if you need to upgrade, you can. So just to show you guys this, here is the pricing breakdown on the right side. So if you need to change any of that, you can do that. You hit buy now and you can upgrade, but 5,000 again for free. So that should cover most of us on this call, I would think. So that's kind of your setup. Those are the key pieces that you need to get set up. Now, let's dive into the meat here. When we go back home, I'm going to cover on two things today. One of them is sending emails through smart plans, and one of them is sending emails through campaigns. So the big difference, I always get asked, what's the difference and why would you use one over the other? I want you to think smart plans is really for follow-up. So these are for follow-up or working on a database that you already have. And campaigns is more if you're trying to attract leads or generate new business from either email lists that you have or cold lists or things like that. So if you don't know how to find smart plans, you're going to click on the little red KW at the top left. It'll open up everything and give you the availability to be able to find it. And we're going to click on smart plans. And inside of here, you're going to have two options. On the top, you're going to see one that says My Smart Plans. And if you go in there and yours is blank, don't stress. That just means you're not creating these. As you can see, I have a bunch of them because I'm using them for classes all the time. And you're going to have Library. And inside Library are the 10 smart plans that are already created by Keller Williams for you. And almost all of these have an email touch in there that you can just activate and use that way. So if you haven't set any of these up yet, I want you to do the Smart Plan Kelly guide. It'll just ask you a couple questions, and then at the end, it will tell you that you need to put someone on these campaigns for them to test and work. What I always suggest you do is create a contact that's yourself or your dog or your spouse or your fish or something that you don't mind if the email is incorrect or it doesn't work, just to test and throw them on kind of as a test. If you want to just use these, especially if you're newer and not into these custom plans yet, these 10 work great. They're all functional. You don't really have to do anything except drop somebody on one. So, if you're newer to this and you're just looking for least amount of stress and least amount of technology ability, I would suggest just using these 10. If you want to get a little bit nerdier, that's what we're going to cover for the rest of the class. So if you want to get a little nerdier, we're going to click on My Smart Plans, and then we're going to hit Create, and this is customizing a smart plan. So when we create, I'm going to call it Bootcamp Day 2, just so we can always find it. And when we create this, it's going to open up a little wizard for us to design our own smart plan. So we can make these as big and as long and as complicated as we want to. I want to keep it real simple just for the purpose of this call. The way that most people are doing this is they are using this to send like one-time follow-up blasts or something regular that's very simple. Inside of this smart plan section, you're going to see there's two options for email, and I'll kind of explain those to you. But everything in a smart plan starts with what we call a manual trigger. So if you see this bluish box on the top, that means you have to drop somebody on one of these things for it to start. So if you want one of these things to run and work, you need to take a contact and put them on there. And you can do that in the top right with this little stick figure and the plus, or inside the actual contact card in contacts. I'll show you that later. But what you have to do here is you're actually building out what you want to happen. So manual trigger means I drop somebody on. Let's just say we get a new internet lead from Facebook or realtor.com, or a friend sends us an email of somebody thinking about buying or selling a house, whatever. We're going to click on, or we're going to see a manual trigger means we drop somebody and then we have to pick an action. So for me, usually the first action would be if we have a phone number, we want to make a call. So we can just click on make a call and it will drop them in there. So we can say intro call. call and say hello and ask for business. And due in how many days means when do you want that done? So ideally today, the first day, day 0, is when you want that, right? That's when we want to start working on a lead. So we're going to set a check mark and say, okay, yes, that piece is done. Now, for most of us, what we want to do then is then we want to have a little delay, and then we want to set up a time to send them an email. So if we hit this set delay, you're going to see that drop in as the second set. And it will ask you, how long do you want to delay this for? So if I got a new lead today and I called them today and they didn't answer, maybe I'm going to delay it 2 days, and then I'm going to try and send them an email. So if I hit 2 days, I can save that. And then my next step is what we're working on really in the class here, is sending an email. So I'm going to click send email, and it's going to put that into third spot here. And you're going to see a couple options that you have with these emails. So first option you see is email type. You're going to see simple or HTML. Simple is literally a text email, something that you can write out. You can use any of these tools. So there's some font coloring. You can throw links in there for landing pages or websites. You can do what we call a mail merge, which is if we want to call them by their first name without having to type their first name, we can do first name, last name. So it would say Matt Swanson, and then I put in a comma, and then I can type out an email. And every person this goes to, I won't have to figure out their first name and their last name. It'll just put them in there based on their contact. So hello, thanks for checking out my site. When can we chat about what you are? Ignore my horrible typing ability. So if you set something up like this, you're going to see the reply to is going to wherever you set it up in the command email settings that we did before. The subject will be whatever you want to call it, right? So maybe this is a new internet lead. So checking in from Keller Williams, and then the content is whatever you choose to send. So when you create this,
send it to your computer, can you then just?
So when you create this thing, this is being created to send to the masses. What I want you to think is I'm not making this one email just to send to Matt Swanson, like I said in the example. I'm making this smart plan so that every time I meet someone new that is an internet lead, I can send them this by just dropping someone on this smart plan. So that's why we use like the mail merge thing. This is very simple to create. Once I hit save here, it's done, and I can drop contacts on this, and I'll be able to just send them emails automatically through KW email. I don't need to do any more work than set this up one time. So ideally what you want to do is you want to set these things up for things that you know are going to happen more than once. So what we always used to say was in the market center was if something happens more than once, it needs a system. So if you can possibly get more than one internet lead, should have a system for it, right? Or if you can possibly get more than one email address from a friend, something that could constantly happen. So we want to make sure that we have a system for it. The other option in here you're going to see is option number 2. It's HTML. So if I click on HTML, what it does is it kind of changes the look of this, right? It removes what I can customize. Same reply to address. I can still make it the same subject. Just now I get to go through the KW email templates and send them something so I don't have to get creative. So if you don't want to reinvent the wheel or make something yourself, we're going to use the library. So when I click on this library, it's going to take a second to upload. And there's a couple of templates in here right now. They add to these pretty regularly, and soon you're going to have the ability to customize. Me and Jackie just did one working with this seller one. So I'm just going to throw this on here so you can kind of see. If we pick the seller one, this smart plan might go to anybody that is a potential seller. And if you want to see what it looks like, we can see it over here. And what it does is on the top, all these spots that you see, it fills in your branded information. So it doesn't go out looking out like that. And this would be something that you would want to send to anyone that's a potential seller lead. So it says, when you're ready to sell, I'm here to help. Talks a little bit about KW and the tech and all that fun stuff. And if they click let's work together, it actually enters them as a lead into command. So it'll put them right into command for you as a lead, which is a good thing, right? So there's a seller one, there's a buyer one, there's a birthday one. There's a couple of them pre-made that if you don't want to make something, you can just use that, and we would hit save. Once we've saved that, that smart plan is saved. Now I can start adding people on it. So if I hit the plus sign on the top, I can pick someone that I want to add on there. So Abby just happens to be top of my list. If I click on her and hit add to smart plan, it's going to add her on that plan. And I get the choice if I want to send it now or if I want to start this a couple days down the line. If you put a lot of people on here, just say you had a whole group of sellers or potential sellers, maybe you had 100. It will ask you a third option and it will say, do you want to stagger the start so that you don't get hit with spam? And it'll send like 25 today, 25 tomorrow, 25 the next day, 25 the day after that, so that they all go out on slightly different days. So whatever one you want to do is fine. You'll hit confirm, and whatever you choose, it will send. If you hit send now, it usually takes a couple hours. If you pick it for the next day, it goes out some point in that day. So I don't want to actually send this to her, so I'm not going to hit confirm, but you'll hit confirm, and then that will be good to go. And then you can always actually see this one inside of the smart plans in my smart plan. So it should be at the top, the one I created. There's 2 total touches. If you remember, the first touch was a phone call. The second touch was the email. And I didn't really add Abby, but if I did, it would say 1 here. And however many you add, it will show them on there. So you can add more people right from here by hitting add contact. You can add a whole tag. So if you have a tag that's all of your 55 plus buyers and you want them to get it, you can throw them on there. Or you can just type a name out. So if I have somebody else in there, I might be able to put all them in there. Who do I have? I could find my client that way and drop them on there. If you want to edit this, you can always just hit the edit button and it will take you back into that wizard that we were just working. And if you hit the gray dots, you can either copy it so you can kind of refine it and change it, or you can just delete it. So if you said, I don't want to look at this anymore, it sucks, I don't want it going out, you can just delete it and get it off there. So that's the first half of this. Does anybody have any questions on the smart plan part before we go into the campaigns? Any questions on smart plans or on the setup before we go any further? If so, let me know.
Ryan, I was doing the smart plan and for some reason it only allowed me to put like 40 or 50, I think it was 40 or 50 people for one smart plan. Why is that?
It's just at a time. You can only put 40 or 50 on at a time. You can go back then and add another 40 or 50 and then another.
Gotcha.
It's just like the first time when you create it, it only lets you add a certain
amount. Okay.
Anybody else? Any questions on this part before I move on?
Ryan, how did you get to the templates of the smart plan?
The templates of the smart plan, I will show you. Hang on. When I hit edit and I go to HTML, if I click on HTML, let me take this one off actually so you can see. It will say browse templates there. Because I'm already in one now, it's not going to say the same thing, but it'll say browse templates instead of showing you that picture. And then it brings you in here where you could see the templates that are already pre-made. And then you can pick seller or buyer or home anniversary or whatever it is.
Hey, Ryan.
Yep.
I got distracted. I missed where you added the recipients.
So 2 spots. One is the top right when you're actually in editing the smart plan. One is the top right, this little stick figure with the plus. I
Gotcha.
can put them in this way. The other option is if I'm actually in the main screen of smart plan and I find the one that I want to work. So this was my test one for today, Bootcamp Day 2. I can add them right here with add contact.
Okay.
And then the other way actually that works too is that if I'm actually in somebody's contact, so I'm just going to pick whoever shows up here first, but if I'm actually in someone's contact, there's a smart plan set up inside the contact card that I will show you here whenever it loads. Come on. So if I go on to Abby, inside of her contact card, I can hit smart plans, and then I can add her from here by just hitting add to smart plan and then picking the one I want to add her on.
Gotcha.
That way. So 3 different ways. Good question. Anybody
Okay,
else
thank
questions
you.
on this part before I move on to the next part?
Ryan,
Yeah.
Lisa.
Hey.
So if you decide to send a simple email, is there a way to put in your signature block or something afterwards, or is it?
You'd have to like copy and paste it in. So like if you had it pre-made or something, you could paste it in there. But it's all just like simple free-form text. So it's not you can't really save one in there, but if you do this just one time, you don't have to then keep recreating it. So if I'm in the, I'll show you, if I'm in the edit part, I'm going to switch it to simple. I can just like put the text in here. So then I could put my signature here.
So what if it was an image? Like if you had a footer, you couldn't.
If you have it like on one of those ways where you can share it, like TinyPic or something, you might be able to get it in there with like a link. But the simple is really made to just be text. So like what I've done with some people is put a landing page or something after that, or a link or something to kind of drag them through. But it's really just right now, it's really simple text.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right, no problem. Anybody else? Any questions on this one before I keep jumping on?
I'm having a hard time getting into my 306 Market Center. It's only letting me stay in my New York Market Center.
We can work on that on the help desk. It's probably not connected right because you just kind of came back. So we will have to get on that from the back end.
All right.
All right. All right, so let's dive into campaigns, which is kind of option number 2 here, and then I will get you guys done. So when we go into home and we start over like we're going to do a campaign. So remember, what we just did, Smart Plans, is more follow-up geared. And what we're going to do next is more lead generation. So kind of always think of that when you're using these tools: Smart Plans, follow-up, campaigns, lead gen. So if I hop on now and I go to campaigns, it's a little microphone, megaphone looking thing. It's going to give me a couple of options. In the beginning, it's going to show me a dashboard of whatever I have going on. And then I have options for paid ads, emails, direct mail, and social posts. If I click on direct mail, or email rather, I'm sorry. If I click on email, it'll show me whatever I have going on in email right now. And it allows you to start doing a couple different things. Number 1 is configure lists. So when we click on this configure lists, this is where you're actually building out email lists. You do not have to do it here, but it's just one option. So if I wanted to create an email list, first you're going to see this little drop down, MailChimp or Command. If you don't have MailChimp connected, don't worry about it. You don't need it. You don't need to pay for it. It's just something I've had for a while. But you'll pick Command Email, which email it's under. And then when you hit Create List, you're going to get the option to actually build out a list however you want it. So you can either manually put people on there. So I could say, okay, I want this person on and I want this person on, or I could put people in there by a tag. So I could say, all right, I want everybody that's, I don't know, this is a fake account, so there's really nobody in anywhere, but I could say, all right, I want all my buyer leads and I want everyone that was in class and whatever. I want all these people thrown into the list. And then when I hit confirm on that, I have the ability to just mail to a list. So what I would suggest is having like a cold email list. So if you have internet leads that you've never gotten in touch with, or just a bunch of junk emails in the database that you want to blast out to without doing too much work, you can build a list for that. You also might want to have a list of like active clients, database, maybe past clients, maybe people that live in a certain area or a certain farm area, whatever lists you want to make. If you create them first in Create List, it will make your campaign process a little bit easier. What most people try to do is build the campaign first and then figure out the list as they go. And it seems like that results in disaster. So I would suggest building the lists first. And then when you decide you're ready to actually start sending, then we're going to hit create a new campaign on the top. And we're going to choose email. Campaign name is going to be Command Bootcamp Day 2 Test. And then we're going to pick what we want to do. So if we want to do advertised listing, so meaning we want to blast out a listing to people, or attract talent is if you're trying to recruit or grow profit share. Brand awareness is like, just get your brand in front of people, almost like an email billboard event if you're inviting people somewhere, something like that. So let's just say I pick advertised listing. And then on the bottom, I'm going to choose what I'm using. So again, Command Email is free for all of you guys. If you have MailChimp and you're paying for it, you can use it. If not, I would just get rid of it because there's really no reason. You really don't need it anymore. So advertise listing and then set up campaign. And then we're going to get a bunch of choices on what we actually want to do here. So as we kind of scroll down here, you're going to see a lot of options. So general information is just what we called it and what we're using. Select account is just where you're sending from. So we talked about setting that up earlier. send to the recipients list. This is what I was talking about with the list. If you have a list created, you just scroll through the drop down, plug it in, and it's that simple to send out. If not, you need to create the list here, which is extra work that you really have no reason to do, but you can edit the list or create a list in here if you didn't do it the way I was suggesting before. Send from is going to be whatever your default is in that command email setup. So if you just put your name and the reply to, again, nice and easy, it will come in there. Subject might be check out this totally renovated for 200K. So whatever you want your subject to be, cool. And then here, what's good is with the content in here, you don't have to use simple text. This is where you actually get to use higher quality email. The way it's linked right now is everything is set to be able to use what you've created inside of designs. So if I click on that, it's going to take me to my designs. There's 2 default KW newsletter templates that you can go in and play with and edit if you want. To be honest, they're a bit boring and a bit blah. Or you can create your own design templates. So you can make these things kind of however you want. I think maybe this one will work. Yeah, okay. So you can make them say whatever you want with things that you created in designs. This is just a test, obviously, but you can put whatever you want in there. So inside of designs, you just go in and create however you want. And then you can actually just send this email right from here. So you get to see a preview. This is what it's going to look like if they open it on a desktop, on a tablet, on their phone. You can just kind of get an idea of what it's going to look like. And then you can send it out. So nice and easy. If you don't like it, you can then hit update design and you can change and go in and create different things. That one, you can make things with buttons, with links, with websites. You can do all these different things. So again, this is just like a test account. So there's just a lot of nonsense in here that we put together. But you can go on and make any one of these things so that you can send out. So ideally what you want to do is create the content first. I'll show you how to create it in a second here, but you want to create the content first and then just go in here and send it out. The goal is to use pre-made templates or things that are simple so you're not spending all day on email. But when you hit send here, then it will send your email. So the way you find these design templates for this inside of designs, which is the little one with the paintbrush looking kind of thing on it. If I click designs, it'll ask me, am I sure that I want to go there? Hector, yes, there is a limit on how many emails you can send. It is for free. It's 5,000 emails per month. If you want to pay, there's options going up to 50,000 per month, but for free, it's 5,000 a month. So you can look in your email ones and see the ones that you've created via email, which is kind of what I was just showing you on the screen, or you can create one. So with the plus sign, you hit create, and I pick email because I want to do an email. If you have a listing or something you're working on, you can select it. And when I get in here, it'll let me build out an email. So it will show me what this looks like. If I want to tie it to a listing, let's see. Let me see if it recognizes anything. Okay, so if I want to tie it to a listing, I can kind of associate it with a listing, and then I can drop things in. So I can drop in an image and be able to add in an image. I can drop in, I don't know, a link. If I wanted to put like a landing page link in there, I can put in a text box and be able to put that in there. And then you start kind of just laying these things out to how you want them to look. So the first time you do this, it's work, right? You have to kind of get used to creating one of these things and doing one of these things. But you have the ability to build out anything that you normally would in an email. And ideally, when you're making these to go out, you're going to do this one time for an email blast for lead generation, or one time for an email blast for, trying to get some new business or something in there. So you can always delete and remove and get rid of things that you like or that you don't like. Everything in here runs just like design. So if you've done any of the designs classes, you can kind of create this thing however you like. Let me see. Questions on this while I'm just messing around with this to create something that you can see?
Yeah, Ryan,
Yes.
is there a way to send an email blast to people who are designated as leads in your database?
If they're in a group or a list, so you have to put everybody into a list to be able to do that. So I will tell you what I do with my real one is when I don't leave anybody in the lead section at all. To me, the way I use it is if someone comes in as a lead, that means no one's made an effort at them yet. So I try to get them off of the leads as quick as possible. And then I'll put them into a folder really quickly. So I have a couple of different ones. So if someone comes in as a lead and I don't speak to them, like I can't get through to them, I put them in a bucket or in a list that says unknown. If I speak to them and they're either rude or they don't care or they're not looking for real estate, I put them in a bucket that says cold. And if they like talk to me and have a conversation and are interested in real estate, I put them in one that says either hot or warm or whatever you want to call it. And those become my lists. So like whenever I would get a new listing or a new property, you might send that out to all the unknowns and all the colds, just trying to grab something. And because the hots usually you know a little more about, so it's a little more strategic.
Okay,
Anybody
thanks.
else? Yeah, no problem. Anybody else? Any questions on this part?
Ryan, you said one time once we create it, it's going to be basically in the system, but I'm trying to understand the concept of it. So it's going to send the same email all the time, or we have to keep updating?
So for the smart plan one, the first part of this, you create it once and you're always going to be like throughout your career, throughout your year, you're going to be adding more people on there. So let's say for the smart plan one, you create one that's a smart plan for all new buyer leads. And every new buyer lead I meet, someone's going to get a phone call, then they're going to get an email, then another phone call, then another email. So if you meet a potential buyer today, you drop them on there and that plan happens. And then a week later, you meet another buyer lead, you drop them on there and that plan happens, and it just keeps happening over and over. So it's a system for any time something similar happens, buyer lead, seller lead, database ad, whatever. With what we just did here in campaigns, these are going out like you could do them repetitively, I guess, but the idea behind this is like a one-time blast to as many people as you want to happen. So when you get a new listing, it's only a new listing for that day, right? So you might make one of these templates that's new listing, and it's check out my new listing. Here's a picture. Here's the link for the landing page. It's 200,000 at 123 Main Street, and you're going to blast it out one time as a campaign, meaning I'm trying to get leads or something back out of that to everybody that I want it to see. And then next week, if I get another new listing, then we have to create another one, right? Because it's a different property, and we're going to then blast it out again.
Okay. And how would you basically, can I also do how does it sit with the same idea of, for example, if I would do the MLS subscription?
Yeah, so that's not really like what this is for. This is more just to either generate leads or to follow up with leads. So if you wanted to do the subscription type thing, the move really would be to use the smart plan. Let me get to the right one here. Would be to use smart plans and to use one of the neighborhood nurtures. There's two of them. One is monthly, so that's for people that are either less active or in your database. That is that one. And the other is bi-weekly, so that's like for people that are kind of hot. And the other option for that really would be to set them up on a saved search. So if I had, I'm just going to pick Abby again because I know she's the top of my list. Come on. Come on.
So someone that I will have for MLS subscription, am I going to need to add also this campaign? Because I don't want to be annoying for people that, let's say, they receive the market updates and plus this, or how would it work?
It's up to you, really. So to me, if they're like cold or unknown and I'm not really in a good relationship with them, I want to hit them with as much stuff as possible. If they're a buyer that you met with, did a buyer consult, and they say, I'm looking for a 3-2 in Lake Charleston with a pool for X price, then I would want them on the least amount of stuff because you know specifically what you're trying to get them, and that's going to be right? So you can set someone up on here on a safe search as well, and it works similar to the MLS thing, so you can build out a safe search if you want.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Anybody else questions on the mass email stuff that we did today? All right, guys. If not, I'm going to hop off. I will get this recording edited up for you guys, and I'll throw it on my YouTube channel. So check that out. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Remember, Tech Help Desk, 10 to 11, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And the next 2 Wednesdays, we're going to do 2 more of these command boot camps. Next week, we're focusing on direct mail. So if you want to do direct mail, you can do it right out of the system here and never actually have to touch the pieces. They'll do it for you, which is nice. Or the week after, the last week of the month, we're going to do social media ads and posts and all that fun stuff. So please hop on those last 2 Wednesdays of the month as well. And everybody else, hope you have a good day. I'll see you soon.
Thanks, Ryan.
Thanks, Ryan. Have a good day.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
No problem.